Hey, hello everyone. It's Jason Galeos here, aka J-SiK. I am a dance artist based from Calgary, Alberta. I'm here once again to share with you guys the J-SiK retrospective, acknowledging 10 years in the making, and volume 3. Volume 3. So every year I start out this way of sharing my experiences throughout um, the years of journey, hard work, struggles, success, engaging, embracing, and enjoying the moment. I feel that it's important to remind ourselves that we all go through uh, these steps, and we all go through the experiences. And I believe it's important to look back and know that what you've gone through, and what did it teach you, and what can it show you to be better than where you are now. So yeah, I wrote a list of things. Just thought I'd share with you guys for this year. Last year, I was in a bit of a rush. I had to go to another audition that I was hosting as part of Dance Montage. And speaking of, I'm just gonna list up a couple things I noticed that are happening this week. I know today, as like day 2, I believe, of the Electric Boogaloo's camp. As part of Pulse Studios, which is dope. It's great to have them here. So if that's your thing, definitely come through, come check them out. I believe you'll learn a lot from learning from them, and you'll also learn a lot from who they are as human beings. Yeah, so that's Mr. Wiggles, Pop and Peach, Sugar Pop, and I believe there's one more person I'm missing, but they're all here in Calgary, which is amazing. So yeah, check it out. Go to Pulse Studios on the website. All the details in the description are in there. The second thing that's happening this week, I know today, is the Dance Montage auditions. I know that it happens every year, and this year's quite super special. It is the 50th year anniversary of Dance Montage, which is amazing. I'm going to talk a little bit about my experience 10 years ago with that, because there is a particular piece that I was part of. So yeah, keep an eye on that. The show for that one, I believe, will be the last weekend of November. So it has 4 shows, and it's on the last weekend of November this year. So mark those dates if that's your thing as well. Yeah, and throughout the day, auditions all day till I think 5 or 6 p.m. I'm not too sure, but you can check out the University of Calgary website, aka Dance Montage, or Facebook. The third thing I'd like to talk about, where I am currently employed. I am a company dancer with DJD, and going into, I guess, my second and a half season. Very, very excited to share with you all. I am touring with them for the very first time in my life, and we'll be presenting one of their best works, titled Juliet and Romeo. And yeah, we leave in about 3 or 4 weeks, and it'd be great to check out the East Coast, east side of Canada, which I'm not familiar too often. I've been to Toronto, Guelph, Montreal, and that's as much as I could share with you. But other than that, I'm excited to go to check out these other areas, which I'll fill a little bit more down as time goes by. And also, if you're interested in taking class this week, it is $5 all week this week, so it's gonna be dope. The other thing I'd like to also share, what's happening this fall, is the hosted by Springboard performance. It's called the Fluid Festival, and once a year for 2.5 weeks, almost 3 weeks, we have local and national and some international guest artists and artists from here as well coming to gather and present work and present their art form, present their craft, and share within the world, you know, like within Calgary, that we are exposed to the arts here on a yearly basis, which is amazing. And Springboard Performance has been here in Calgary for quite some time. I'm not exactly sure when it started. I do know that I think my first time being involved was like probably 2011, and ever since, you know, I look forward to coming out and support when I can. And it's just nice to know also that, you know, work and your craft and your voice comes from different mediums, which is amazing. So that's in October, I believe just after Thanksgiving weekend. So there will be a lot of performances happening. There will be workshops that will be happening. And yeah, it's just a great way to, you know, a great way to have an exchange of conversation with your peers, your family, your friends, and you know, all artists around the world, and get to know other artists too, and how, you know, how they feel about coming here to Calgary, which is our very home. So yeah, just thought I'd share that with you guys. I thought it was pretty cool. The other thing I'd like to mention as well, oh yes, so this weekend, this Saturday specifically, September 14, is the Five Kings Battle. That's gonna be amazing. It's gonna be dope. I believe in the past I've been to like 2 of them, but yeah, it's an amazing event. You know, a lot of locals and a lot of the street dancers, specifically the b-boys, the b-girls, the hip-hop scene, like it is here in Calgary and it exists. And if that's something you want to experience for yourself, and know that there are people representing that dance and that culture, you know, Five Kings, man, that's, you know, that's one of the places to check out. If you'd like to find out more, I believe you can type in Five Kings on social media. You'll be able to find it on Instagram, Facebook, and there are people to contact there as to find out when it is exactly and where. And yeah, man, it's gonna be a great event. So yeah, this Saturday, September 14, make sure you check that out. Yeah, man, let's see what else. Oh, this one right here, big one for sure. So I run a side company called J-SiK Movements, and it is a contemporary dance based company influenced by 3 elements that I've been kind of playing with for the past almost 5 years. So the world of breaking, the world of flying low, which is basically kind of like their foundations of floor work, European based, led by David Zambrano. And the third thing I'm super heavily influenced by is the movement from animal behavior and capoeira. So these 3 elements, plus like my birthplace in Norway and my origins, my experiences living in the Philippines, it's kind of like a accumulation of all that, of what J-SiK Movements is. And it's been a amazing journey being able to start that in late 2014, knowing that I wasn't sure what it was going to be, or I didn't know how it was going to propel and take me somewhere. But I've been very fortunate and very grateful and very humble to know that even you know, even through busy lifestyle, it taught me how to find harmony and find boundaries in what you do within your passions. So I think that's a huge life lesson right there. And this upcoming January will be the relaunching the side company. I'm going to be having a brand new logo done by my friend Gomo, my dear friend Gomo. And yeah, we're in the works right now when that's going to be released, but I'm looking forward to see what he's going to be doing and how we're going to present it in January. And also, that being said, it's going to be coming up with some merchandise along with that logo, so I'm looking forward to that as well. It's all going to be led and directed from Gomo, and I'm going to be putting some of my insights as well, collectively. And so it's great to know that even though like he lives in Vancouver and is going to school there right now, we're still in touch and we're still finding ways how to work together and be there together. And he's a big influence in my life, I would say, since like the high school days and the YMCA heritage and the battle zone. And here we are where we are now, like floor rookies, he's a big influence in my life, so I'm really thankful that he's still part of my life and we're still working together. So yeah, that's in January. That's happening, marking my 5-year anniversary of celebration of J-SiK movements. And in speaking of that, I will be presenting 2 initial projects next year in 2020. The first one will be with an amazing dance artist named Megan Mikulski. She is man, she's done so much here in Calgary. She's grown a lot, and 4.5 years ago, I remember when her and I were training for a lot of hours just before she went to go audition for Hafiz Schechter the late December. And I was thinking that, okay, well, maybe if she's doing this, I could do the same thing for me. And yeah, I went to go audition in Montreal as well. So both of these, idea of working hard towards a goal, towards something that you want to achieve, also inspired me to do something. And she was one of those peeps I spoke to about it. I worked a lot with her during that time, and I thought it'd be nice to come in full circle to be working with her again, which is like hard these days because everyone's doing like so many things, but which is good, because we're all inspired to create and push and get our voice out there. So yeah, it'll be an honor to work with her. We'll be working together and presenting an initial project in 2020. And the second thing I'm doing will be the full circle of the BZ series. So the BZ series I started in 2012. It was a project that I didn't know how it was going to turn out. It was kind of like me branching out of presenting work in the form of contemporary dance, and I didn't know how it was going to turn out, but I just know that I wanted to try, whether it was great or terrible or amazing. I just know that I wanted to get my voice out there in this world of contemporary dance. And yeah, like I think 4 years later after that, I created 4 variations of that series, and the series is inspired of the group that I was part of, is part of, and they're called Battle Zone. And this group of individuals, taught me a lot about core values, family, and ways that we can be a unique group but not conform to what is happening in terms of a trend, or in terms of what was out there that had to stay growing. The cool thing about being part of that group was that when we came together, it was a way for to acknowledge that we're human beings first, we're friends first, we're family first, and dance can wait. You know what I mean? Like dance can wait. So it was that'll always be a reminder for me to know that whatever organization or commitment I have for dance is that we're human beings first, and we want to let each other know that if we're not present in what we're going through, and we're just trying to get by and get through each and every time, then it might consume us, right? We might forget the idea why we're doing it in the first place. So the why and the what is extremely important each and every time. So yeah, that's gonna be happening with J-SiK Movements. I'm excited for that. It's a long time coming, and yeah, I feel like it'd be nice to get to that place in my life and continue to move forward. So keep an eye for that as well. That'll be in January, marking the 5-year anniversary of J-SiK Movements. All right, so 2 things I'd like to share with you guys today within the J-SiK retrospective from 2009. Like, wow, it's 10 years ago. A couple facts. Well, I grew up my hair that year. I had like a curly slash flat top, I guess you could say. It was quite hilarious, but also, yeah, I just wanted to see how I would look like, or how, committing to something. And, that's the kind of person I am. I feel that, when I try something, I stick to it, and, make sure that, try my hardest to, maintain discipline and just determined, like all those qualities. You just get that drive going on. So I just wanted to try it out. The Yeah, that year was quite of a roller coaster in terms of role engagement. Now, when I say role engagement, I was tapping into how I can be an example in the contemporary dance world as a male dancer. One of the things I realized, or I remember during that time, was I was coming into a world of dance, of a world that I'm not familiar with, not comfortable with, and I was adjusting, and it was teaching me how to open up my mind, mentally, my body, physically. And it's a process. It's not something that happens in like one sitting. Like, when it happens, you gotta take it day by day, and know that the program, the University of Calgary, the contemporary dance program, and everything else I've experienced throughout that, molded me and shaped me to this dancer that here I am today. So I had this mentality, thinking that when I'm in in this environment, I can not have this idea of being labeled as a street dancer, knowing that I can wear a different hat, and come to that place, and and meet them at that place where I can not necessarily blend, but being able to also have my voice, or make my mark in that world, and so in that environment. So I think that was one of the things I was kind of like, not going back and forth, but I was having troubles processing whether should I separate them or should I keep them together. And yeah, I realized that during that time, there were these roles building me to this person that I can adapt and adjust into, which was so beautiful and so fascinating. And when it's done right, and you continue to do your homework, and continue to do the effort to be invested in both worlds, and not necessarily pull you apart. I think that's a key element in terms of being part of anything you want to commit for. Another thing that I also remember being in that process. So yeah, 2009, I was in a piece called In the Men's Room, and it was choreographed and led by Wojtek Machnier, or Wojciech Machnier, however you want to call it. He was one of my profs at the University of Calgary. He is part of the W&M Dance Physical Theater with Melissa Monteros. And, he's still kicking butt out there. He's like performing, he's living, the artist life. And yeah, he was one of my teachers. I would say he still is one of my teachers and inspiration during the time in university and after university. Great man, just like the training he's had and the experiences he's gone through, definitely you see it in his life, still changing him and still molding him, which is awesome. First time dancing for this man, and like I think 14 other men, I don't remember, but there was a lot of guys, I can tell you that. And let me tell you, today it's hard to find, it's hard to see, or how do I say it, like it's hard to know when guys are all together performing in the show together. Now, not to say that, you know, like it should be like that, but it's a rare opportunity for me, just because in the world of contemporary dance, when I first got into it, you know, there was not a lot of guys that were either taking the program or either maybe interested in dance. But it was really cool to see that in many ways there are male dancers do exist all around the world, and it was just awesome to see that male dancers here in Calgary, you know, are also interested in performing or in battling or in competing or in representing the dance and the culture, you know. And you know, there was something about that that was just so, what's the word, it was catchy. It was very like influential, like when you see the other guys do it, like, you know, you just want to be part of it. And the fascinating stories from all those guys that were part of those from that project specifically is that what brought them in that show. And I can't remember all the details, but I remember Anne Flynn doing an interview on all those guys that were part of that piece, and it showed that you know, all these dancers that exist within our community, it actually, you know, they're there, right? And one of the greatest things about Dance Montage was to, you know that there are dancers that exist, you know, not just within the city, but dancers within, like, you know, outside of the city or within the city that you didn't know about. And that was a great way of meeting them and working with them and getting to know them, and know that, you know, we're all thriving and sharing and caring about, you know, the place we live at, and finding ways how to add dance into our lives on a, you know, weekly or daily basis. It was just so cool to know that that existed. I can't remember everyone's responses out of all those guys, but I do know that that was one of the most probably special. That was probably one of the most special things I'll always remember being part of that. Being part of that process and being part of that project. So yeah, this year, you know, I'm just gonna cross my fingers, but yeah, I'm waiting to find out if, you know, when Wojtek comes back, there's a possibility we might be sharing something for this year's 50th year Dance Montage, and it will be a tribute to the piece known as In the Men's Room. Now, I don't have a link of that piece exactly, but I know someone who does. I can definitely tag his video, Ken Cole, on for you guys via Facebook, and you can check it out there. It was definitely a wonderful experience dancing with all those guys in the space, you know. And who knows, like, you know, maybe one day, yeah, I'd love to work with all male dance piece. Not sure when, but, you know, it's on the bucket list, man. And like, and you know, when that time comes, yeah, I'll definitely let you guys know. So yeah, well, that's one of the, for sure, that's one of the most memorable things I'll never forget, being part of that experience in 2009. And yeah, man, kudos to all the men there who are dancing and who are still dancing, and who, you know, and who are not afraid to share and show that part of you, part of your voice, you know, because yeah, sometimes, you know, we don't have the access to express ourselves through voice, and you know, movement is one of the things, you know. And to me, dancing has always created this outlet for me to feel free, to feel that I can deal with my stress or anxiety, or knowing how to face my problems. And for me, dancing was a way to deal with the negativity away from my body, to flush it out so I can think clearly and breathe clearly and feel that I'm in one, knowing that I can still be myself and not completely lose myself from some form of stress or negativity. So yeah, Wojtek, thank you for letting me be part of that process. Yeah, I want to give a shout out to all the guys that were in there. I'm gonna try my best to remember everybody. I'm gonna start with Alain Martel, formerly Ali Chaudhry. We've got Tony Tran, we've got Jared Herring, we've got Travis Newman, we got RJ Abalo, Mark Akita, we've got Henry Lowe, we've got Wade, we've got Ken Cohen there, Corey Beaver, I feel like Lance, don't forget about Lance. Miku. Yeah, I can't forget about Lance. Oh man, I feel like I'm missing a couple more, but yeah, it was a wonderful process to be part of. And if Wojtek and I and a couple others are on board, we find out in a couple weeks if we are able to. But yeah, it all depends on the timing, and see what we can do for when that comes. So yeah, this year's dance montage will be in the end of November, and it'll be the 50th year anniversary. So if that's something you'd like to check out, definitely come through. It'll be at the University of Calgary at the University Theatre. Yeah, the second thing I'd like to share and talk about was another project I was part of, and it was through Tyler Lipchin, and we did a modern version influenced heavily with street dance and breaking and hip hop, and it was a version of West Side Story, and the now at first I was super hesitant to take on the opportunity, just because it required I think 6 or 7 months of commitment. And at that time, right, I was a university student, and I didn't know when you're taking on opportunities, you gotta learn what to say yes to and what to say no. And I just felt that it took a lot of convincing for me to know that if I was gonna commit to this project, how much it was gonna take out of me, and and how can I harmonize and balance all the other things that I do on top of it. Yeah, man, it was 6 months of learning material, some character. It was a lot of fun. There's a lot of dancers involved in there. I don't know, 30 something, man. It was a lot. But yeah, one of the things I learned about being in that process was that not only I benefited from learning these dances, and learning the people that were part of it, and all the people that I partnered up with. It was a challenge for sure, and when you commit for something for that long, it just shows you the levels of your discipline and your determination and your drive each time that you come in there. Now, obviously, depending on the role you have, sometimes you don't have to do a lot, but when you are there, you got to make sure that you're 100% present, and that you're ready to work. It's super important. One of the things I also remember being part of that process was I think we had like 4 shows, and it was at the Voice Theater. Like, you gotta remind yourself that the time you put in, you know, into any project, and you got to make sure you read the how do I say this? Like, if you were to receive an opportunity like that, long term or short term, you got to read out the details, knowing what you're getting yourself into. So yeah, it taught me a lot what it's like to commit for you know, a 6 month project, knowing where we're gonna rehearse, what the schedule was gonna be like, and what are the things I needed to achieve for the show, and how it can be keep that, you know, aside from all the other things you already do, like, you know, your day job, or if you teach, like, you know, list goes on, right? So that was very, very important, getting yourself into. So yeah, something to keep in mind whenever you commit to a project. Yeah, just ensure that you know all the details, and how much of your time can harmonize with that project. And most importantly, yeah, like, boundaries. You got to make sure your boundaries are in check, so that they don't clash or coincide, knowing that it can. So you just got to make sure you stay on top of it, or, you know, have someone to talk to, or rely on, knowing that, you know, you're not the only one going through this, but people go through this as well in these experiences. And it's good to have, you know, ask questions, engage in conversations, and how you can, you know, make it better for yourself throughout the experience, or if it's something you want to do it again down the road. So yeah, that's definitely a major thing I learned in that process, West Side Story. But yeah, it was quite a handful, I would say. Yeah, 2009. Those are the 2 main things I really big commitments I went through. First one was in the men's room, a piece done by Wojtek Mautier in 2009. And the other big project I was also part of was called West Side Story, led by Tyler Lipchain, and then it was also in 2009. Now I can't list you know, all the names I can remember in that project, but I could definitely upload a link of some of the clips of performances of that show. It was amazing to meet a lot of people that were involved in it, that have, you know, either were full-time dance artists or part-time dance artists. And it was just again, what I shared earlier. It was just wonderful to know that I was meeting dancers that were from trained or formerly trained in studios. I was meeting dancers who were b-boys and b-girls that I've never met before, and it was nice to be in that environment. And then I was meeting dancers also who were who live across on the other side of the city, that I had no idea that, you know, that they were there and they existed. And, you know, so in a way, like, opportunities like this, you know, was a way to kind of see and feel and know and acknowledge that, you know, there are other dancers out there who, you know, who go through the same thing as you do. And, you know, it's good to have that conversation, knowing that, you know, we're not just here to, you know, learn steps and then leave, you know, and go on your day. Like, you're there to actually know, get to know them, and know that they're people too, just like you, and they go through struggles just like you, and they go through the motions, and know that, you know, every project or every opportunity is a process. It's a journey, you know, and when one door opens, or when one door closes, another one opens. So really cool to know that, you know, that year specifically, 2009, went through a lot of shifts. But yeah, I look forward to, you know, the next 10 years and see where it takes me. However, the last thing I'd like to share with you guys, or sorry, one of the last things I'd like to share with you guys. So if you want to continue to find out when dance is happening in Calgary, I would say start out at Let's Dance YYC, and I believe the person to contact who is Krista, and look up Let's Dance YYC. There's a link for it. It's a great way to find out when events are happening via dance in Calgary. Check it out, support it, contribute to it. It's a way to find out when things are happening here, because that's one of the things I find in Calgary. It's, to know who to talk to, not just by word of mouth, but when things are happening. Because sometimes people don't have the time to look at it like twice a week or once a week, but it's good to know that when you find a one place where you can know when things are, it can be a little bit more organized. So yeah, Let's Dance YYC. Make sure you check that out. We'll put that link if you are interested. Check that out. I also would like to say, if you are not social media into that whole world, and you're more into like the websites and emails, check out Alberta Dance Alliance. That calendar right there in Alberta as a whole, events, classes happening there in that calendar. You can subscribe to them, and you can also add your own events as part of their listings as well. So just something to be mindful about living here in YYC and YYC Dance, knowing that it does exist. Let's see, I'm just trying to think. Again, I hope this live stream was meaningful to you and resourceful to you, knowing that we here, Jason Galeos, still part of the dance community and one of the Calgary dance artists based, and again, super thankful to you guys, super thankful to God, knowing that without him I would not have this drive, this discipline, this determination. And one of the biggest things I really learned this past summer being away and through him was the fruit of forgiveness. And some of the things I've learned in the past is that I have all these memories, which is amazing, and to know that they exist. It's also important to know that when these things happen for a reason, there's God is trying to teach you something. And one of the ways I learned this past summer is that how I can engage in that memory, but have forgiveness on top to show me and to teach me that this will soften my heart, and also know that what I've done in the past, to fully move forward and move on. One of the key ingredients of that is, for me, is forgiveness. Big part of that, and big thank you to Christ himself, knowing that he's still the driving force in my life, and he's still the reason why I'm still moving, still grooving, still dancing, still representing YYC Dance in the best way as possible. And man, I look forward to this journey of 2019-2020 season. If you have any questions, holla at me. I hope that this live stream was meaningful and resourceful and fruitful to you guys. And enjoy the rest of your Sunday, and you guys have a good day. All right, take care, guys. Peace.